A few weeks ago, Jason KM4 ACK did a video on this guy right here, this off-grid WX field guide. It's a pretty interesting thing. I was intrigued, obviously, because I ordered this thing about 2 minutes after I watched Jason's video, and I'm not really disappointed with it, but I don't think it's the right thing for most people. I get back to the home shack, I'll put it on the desk and go over why. All right, so here's a look of what comes in the mail when you order the off-grid WX field reference guide. And it's a 6-ring binder. I think it's the A6 size, maybe A5, whatever, from Right in the Rain. And right away, that is my first gripe. Not Right in the Rain. They make fantastic stuff overall, except for these binders suck. They don't fold flat very well. They bounce around, which isn't the end of the world, but where they really lack is over time, this living hinge will tear on you. So if you use these quite a bit, they will break down. But they're fairly inexpensive, they're fairly durable, so you can always buy another one, or there's alternatives on Amazon and elsewhere for like a nylon or a canvas 6-ring binder that's a little more stout. Overall, the concept of it being on the 6-ring binder is outstanding because you can augment this thing very easily. You can sort out the contents into the order that works best for you. You can take away items that are not useful for you, and you can add more items that are useful for you. So this thing is not a set in stone binded reference guide. It is a starting point for you to build whatever you want with it, at least in my opinion. So again, I was introduced to this from KM4 ACK. His video is much better. He goes into more detail. I'm just kind of building off of what he already did. This is an off-grid field reference. Its main point is for WinLink. It's meant to augment a WinLink station. Now, granted, you're thinking, if you're running WinLink, why do you need a reference manual? You're at a minimum using a smartphone or a tablet or laptop of some sort. You can have all that information as a PDF, but usually in the field you're working with one monitor and you got 3 things up anyways to run WinLink and yada yada yada. It's just nice to have something handy. Plus, you never know who's coming to the party, right? You might have to hand this information off to somebody else who doesn't have all that documentation on their WinLink station. So that's kind of the reason why I don't think this is for everybody, because the bulk of the contents of this thing is weather request information for WinLink. You gotta be a pretty heavy WinLink user in the field to get the full benefit out of this thing. There's a lot of other great information in this thing. Band plans, UTC time conversion, that was a huge thing for me. Solar setup suggestions for getting the right angle, Q codes, Morse code, translations, all that kind of stuff that's very handy to have. But most of that stuff you already have or you have elsewhere. So again, this is really for a target market of heavy-duty off-grid WinLink users. Now, one thing that I really did like is, as Jason pointed out, you can get some customization. But one thing I did take him up on was the customized list of area repeaters. And I was really curious on how that was going to pan out because I live right on the border of Minnesota and Wisconsin. I'm 2 miles in on the Wisconsin side, so when I provided my zip code and stuff, I wasn't sure if I was going to get just the Wisconsin side of things, where I talk mainly on a lot of Minnesota repeaters. I was pretty happy with the results. For Wisconsin, they listed repeaters from Superior to Kenosha, so that covers the whole state. And I had a pretty good chunk of Minnesota as well, so kudos to that. You may be better off taking the route that our friend Tango Oscar Mike pointed out. He obviously saw Jason's video as well, and he pointed out that he has his own little system on the same concept of using the 6-ring binder format with the Write in the Rain paper. You can make your own pretty reasonably. Now that paper's not cheap. You buy a bundle of that, that's quite a few bucks. And if you don't have a laser printer, well, there's another $100, so you might be better off just getting this and not buying the printer. However, having this set up the way Tom from Tango Oscar Mike has laid out may be the route for you, because you can make some really nice customized stuff for field events, race schedules, listing of the checkpoints and aid stations where other operators are, all the agenda type stuff. And then you may have noticed on the screenshots here that everything I showed you was not in this binder. What I have in the binder right now is some of the extra templates, but I have a lot of these extra stuff, and then a lot of the stuff I don't really have a use for, like the grid map. I think it's really cool, but it's just nothing I'd really need in the field, so I don't have it in there. So I just have that left over in here, and I followed Tom's recommendation and I ordered this binder from Battleborn. This thing's really nice. It lays down nice and flat. It's very rigid. It has this awesome map pouch on the front. I even picked up some of the grease pens. The idea is, again, for events and stuff, I can have the agenda and cross things off as they go. If you're an MCOMS kind of guy, far as CERT and Aries, this would be perfect for that. Tracking wildfires, flooding. You can have your neighborhood on here, an overhead view of your neighborhood map, and you can cross out the houses that you checked on and everybody's okay, or use their imagination. Lots of useful stuff. So I have everything that I found useful in here. The weather, the repeater lists, and the one thing I found now that the bad conditions are picking up and you get a lot of DX, all the call sign prefixes from around the world and the country it associates with. So that'll help me when I'm off grid trying to figure out who the heck I just talked to when I'm doing a Parks on the Air or Summits on the Air. I got some big plans for this, what I'm going to be doing, like I mentioned, for special events and stuff, and for some of the local groups, you know, putting in net schedules and band plans and that kind of stuff. This video is starting to get a little long for talking about a reference guide, so let's wrap it up. One item before we wrap it up that I just remembered is the beauty of having a digital reference guide that you put together yourself on the 6-ring binder format, because you will always have a digital copy. Now, the Write in the Rain stuff is great, it's durable, but it's still a loose leaf binder made of paper. You're going to lose pages, they're going to get worn out, they're going to rip out, and the information's going to change over time. It'll always be nice that when you get back from a POTA or event or the end of the world, what have you, your field guide gets beat up a little bit, you can print out a new one, bam, away you go. Overall, this thing is pretty badass. There's a lot of useful information in it. It's well designed, well made. But as I said earlier, it's not for the average ham. It's not for the average person that does portable radio either. It's for a very small group. And I think the majority of us, that this product will be a waste of their money. They could pull those resources together in the same format or a slightly different one. It's just a matter of your time and all of that, which is obviously the benefit of buying this thing. But they're spendy, so you need to make that choice. Is your time and effort worth the amount of money that you'd spend for that and just get the thing to you? And you can do like I'm doing and just supplement to it. Buy the core and put all the personal stuff that works best for your personal situation. I just really don't think this thing lives up to the hype. There's a ton ton of information there, like I keep saying, and most of it, 95% of us hams are not going to use it. So a lot of extra stuff to carry around in your go bag or have sitting on your ham desk. But your mileage may vary, so take it for what it is. Have a good one, folks. Thanks for watching. 73.